Welcome back to our Malware Deep Dive series. Today, we're jumping into a really nasty one. One of the most disruptive types of malicious software out there, ransomware. You see, this isn't your average virus that just steals your data. No, this one holds it hostage. So to really get a handle on just how powerful ransomware can be, I want you to travel back with me to a specific day in 2017. A day when it felt like the entire digital world was brought to its knees by what you could only call a global cyber pandemic. It spread like an absolute wildfire. Just try to picture this. In a single 24-hour period, over 230,000 computers were infected. I mean, this wasn't some slow, creeping attack. It was a digital explosion. A single piece of malware was just copying itself and blasting across the globe at a speed nobody had really seen before. And its reach was, well, it was everywhere. The attack slammed computers in 150 different countries. It paralyzed systems, and it didn't care about borders or time zones. From Asia to Europe to the Americas, it felt like almost no one was safe. The name of the culprit behind all this chaos was a crypto worm called WannaCry. And look, this wasn't just some problem for big tech companies. This thing hit critical infrastructure. We're talking about hospitals having to cancel surgeries and divert ambulances. Huge companies like Nissan and FedEx had to literally stop operations. It just goes to show you how massive the real-world consequences of a digital attack can be. So what is this thing, this digital kidnapper? Because WannaCry is the perfect, terrifying example of this whole category of malware we call ransomware. Let's really break down what that means. Okay, so at its very core, ransomware is just digital extortion. Plain and simple. It's a nasty program that gets onto your computer, and it doesn't just quietly steal your info. It locks you completely out of your own files. It scrambles everything. Your photos, your documents, your work projects, making it all totally useless to you. So yeah, the attackers basically put all of your data into a digital vault that only they have the key for. And how do you get that key? Well, you have to pay up. They demand a ransom, turning your own personal data into a hostage. So how does this even happen? How do we go from a totally normal day to a full-blown crisis with just a single click? Well, it's a chain reaction, and it almost always starts with something that looks completely harmless. Let's walk through the anatomy of an attack. Right, so it usually kicks off with a phishing email, one of those messages that's designed to look super legitimate. You click a link, you download an attachment, and boom, that's the trigger. The ransomware just installs itself in the background and gets straight to work encrypting every personal file it can find. Then, before you know it, this message pops up on your screen. It's the ransom note explaining that your files are locked and demanding payment, usually in something untraceable like Bitcoin, if you ever want to see them again. And here's the part that is just terrifying. Even if you decide to pay the ransom, you have to remember who you're dealing with. These are criminals. There is absolutely zero guarantee they'll actually send you the key. You could pay them hundreds or thousands of dollars and still lose every single one of your files. It is an awful, awful gamble. Now, you should know that ransomware isn't just one single thing. Attackers are clever, and they use a bunch of different strategies to get what they want, playing on both weaknesses in our technology and, honestly, our own human psychology. So, on one side, you've got the heavy hitters, crypto ransomware, like WannaCry. This is the brute force approach. It just encrypts your files and spreads like crazy to infect as many computers as possible. But then, on the other side, you have something called scareware. This is all about psychological tricks. It uses social engineering, like those fake "you have a virus" pop-ups, to make you panic and trick you into paying for software that's either useless or is the actual malware itself. So one locks your files, and the other one locks your mind with fear. Okay, we've talked about these massive global attacks. We've talked about criminal tactics, but let's bring it all back home. Why does this unseen hostage crisis actually matter to you and me? Here's what this all boils down to. Ransomware is not just a problem for big companies or governments. It is a real and growing threat for every single one of us. It can all start with just a tiny moment of distraction, one wrong click. These attacks work because they prey on our trust and on flaws in technology. And please remember this, paying the ransom is a desperate gamble. It is not a solution. So I'm just going to leave you with this one question to really think about. If your entire digital life, every photo, every important document, all of your memories, was just suddenly locked away from you with no certain way of getting it back, what would you do? And maybe more importantly, what can you start doing right now to make sure you never, ever have to find out?